Fellow auto detailers, welcome to the show that features interviews with today's most successful auto detailers. This is the Auto Detailing Podcast. Here's your host, Jimbo Balaam.
I'm ready to roll, man.
What'd you have for breakfast?
What episode number? I had some banana nut muffins.
Oh, those are my favorite.
Yeah, they're pretty legit, I'm not going to lie.
Were they homemade, or did you pick them up at like a coffee shop?
No, I got them at Safeway. I'm here in Scottsdale, so
Okay.
we were at Safeway, and we're staying, I don't know if you're familiar with the area at all, but
Not
up
at all.
north. Yeah, so there's like Phoenix is the metro, Scottsdale, and then about 30 miles north, I'm up in like the high country desert, kind of up at the base of the mountains and whatnot. Anyway, long description to say it's a long way to the grocery store. So, yeah, we just picked up some.
All right, welcome to this is episode 327 of the Auto Detailing Podcast, and I'm excited for a few reasons. One, I'm recording this from my couch in my shorts and t-shirt, no shoes, kicking back, which is the first time I've ever done it like this, so relaxed. And I'm also excited because of today's guest as well. He goes by many names, most of which can't be recorded, but none other than Travis McNutt. Travis, welcome back to the Auto Detailing Podcast.
What up, Jay Balaam? Peanut with you here.
And what I'm
going to record that one, right?
that one is recorded. That one will not be edited out, nor will your breakfast, your banana nut breakfast comment.
Oh, perfect.
But I do really love those, especially if they're a little undercooked in the middle of the muffin. Anyway, I just had lunch, and anyway, so I'm really excited to have you back on because you've started to make some moves within the detail industry. And last we talked, you were doing a lot of high-end correction and coating jobs, kind of really penetrated the Mopar niche, and kind of had been traveling around, even like you still are right now, doing these jobs and doing these really high-ticket jobs. But you've also taken on a different role within the industry and still detail, I believe. I mean, it's been a few weeks since we've really talked about the specifics of everything, but I think so. So I'm excited to really document your journey, and that's what's kind of becoming a reoccurring theme on the show is kind of documenting, we just had Billy Bogus on and kind of his journey, and that's even changed now, and so we're going to get him back on, once his life kind of settles a little bit more, and so, but I think people really enjoy hearing that and seeing it and kind of following along. So I'm just glad that I get to kind of facilitate that. So I'm really excited. We've caught up offline, but I'm excited we haven't caught up all the way, I don't think. So I'm excited to hear and kind of catch everyone up to speed on you and what you got rocking and rolling. So why don't you kind of lead us with, how this opportunity even came in the first place, and then what that opportunity is, because I actually think it's a path that a lot of detailers would be interested in. So I'll kind of hand it over to you, and why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Sweet, man. Well, I do appreciate you having me on the show. It's always exciting for me knowing I'm about to get to come on and chat with you and share knowledge with the fan base and whatnot. And I still get messages like you were saying. It's cool that people will even message me from the podcast we did. I think the first one was about a year ago.
I think so, yeah.
And so I still get feedback from that, so that's really awesome. But so to catch you up, I started my detailing business, and then as of late, or the most recently, I took a job with Americana Global. So we are a car care product company right now.
Who, by the way, if I could break in, because I like to hear myself talk, but it's interesting, and I just thought of this and hadn't thought about it before, but I actually had Barry Thiel on the show when he had just sold Americana Global. So it's cool. So Barry sold Americana Global. He came on the show, however long ago that was, to talk about, selling a company, and we kind of played on that, and it sold to, the people who are have hired you on now. So it's kind of like we're getting the whole picture here. This is super cool. I just thought of that. Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, no worries. So they hired me as the CEO of the company. So basically for me, that looks like running the company, managing we still have a corporate office. So like all the orders and whatnot get shipped out of the corporate office, and I'm not currently working out of the corporate office. I'll kind of get into that later, but we're a product company. We have 3 different buffing liquids. So we have a compound, a medium grade polish, and a finishing polish. And then we also have a complete pad line. So microfiber cutting and polishing, as well as yellow, orange, black, red foam. And so that's in order of aggression. But we're also have a silica infused soap, which is great for both coated and non-coated vehicles. It's silica infused, so it offers a baseline protection on non-coated vehicles, or serves as a introduction to maintenance for your ceramic coating. And that's a foam soap. You can put it in a foam cannon or in a 5-gallon bucket. And then we're about to release a product called Stripper, which is a prep solve or solvent bath, which will serve in your coating prep process to basically get your surfaces surgically clean. So that'll be coming out really soon.
Is that a foaming product as well? Like, will you be able to use that in a foam cannon to chemically strip the car before you're coating it, or is it more of a spray and wipe kind of deal?
No, it's a spray and wipe.
Okay,
so it'll be a standalone product. Basically, you finish your paint correction, and then you're moving into your decontamination for coating. It'll be like your initial wipe. It would serve.
Right.
It's very similar to like CarPro Eraser, or I think IGL has a product called Delete. Is that their coating prep? So it's a solvent-based product that is going to prep the surface for any type of ceramic coating.
Random question: does it have a scent at all, or does it smell like chemical?
It does have a scent.
Okay, cool.
And I wouldn't know how to describe it.
Okay, but it's not very chemically, because that's kind of my one, to go off on a tangent real quick. It's kind of my one gripe is like, why does it have to smell so chemically? You know. Anyway.
This product actually smells pretty good.
Okay,
so
cool.
No worries there.
Nice.
And I'll try and send you over some here in the next week or so that you can test it out. But so they hired me to run this company. Essentially, since Barry bought it, there hasn't been a ton done with it.
Since Barry sold it.
So
just want to clarify.
Yes, sir.
Got it.
What did I say?
You said since I almost said Larry. Since Larry, then you said since Barry bought it. So I didn't want people to get confused.
Yeah, since you sold it.
Yeah, got it.
And so
we all knew what you meant.
Yeah, perfect. So it's been an interesting journey for me. I basically took on the position at the first of the year in January, and so I've just been working on creating some video content, pictures, updating the website, and trying to figure out how to get into the professional detail market, the body shop industry, because, our line is primarily based around paint correction right now. We do have the soap and the upcoming Stripper, which I said, but outside of that, for typical guys who detail, who may not be doing coatings or corrections, they may not have any reason to search us out. And so just been trying to build the network of people and create some awareness within the detailing industry. We want to be able to be a company that people can come to for any product, but right now the basis of our line is around paint correction. So that's why we've added the soap and the Stripper, so that we can start reaching a bigger spectrum or span or whatever of guys that can actually take advantage of the products that we have. So I said over the last 4 months, I've been working with the company on a new formulation for our 1500 compound. Before, we feel like the jeweling polish is really good, and we're kind of looking to move forward and reformulate our medium cut polish, but I just finished the reformulation for the 1500 heavy cut compound. I'm super excited about it. Got to work with some awesome guys and test a lot of products on a lot of different cars and whatnot. So it was really fun for me coming in previously, you know, initially an enthusiast and then a detailer as a professional, and then moving in with this product company. And now I'm getting to work on the formulation side where I actually get to tell the blending company what I'm looking for out of the product. And so super excited about that. It just went into manufacturing, so we're going to be releasing that in about 6 weeks or so. So
that's exciting.
That has been probably the most exciting part of taking the job so far. So yeah, that's my role right now. I'm running Americana Global. I'm building the brand. I'm creating awareness in the detailing market and trying to bring in some guys, some new distributors. Obviously, we want more people selling our products. So for guys who have car care companies or already selling products, there's some really good opportunities for wholesale distribution if you wanted to sell in your own market or out of the country. I know there's a lot of guys that listen to the podcast that aren't necessarily in the USA. And I guess I'll touch on this real quick. We can ship it anywhere in the world currently. It's only set up on the website to ship for just the United States. So if you are listening and you're outside of the United States, info@americanaglobal.com. Send me an email and I'll get you, your product or get stuff ordered for you. So yeah, just looking for new distributors, looking for guys to just try and test the products. I sent some to Billy, you mentioned him. I sent some pads to him and sent some pads to Jace, who has the Last Cut. So, and I just got that, which is a great product, by the way. Brandon McComb with the detailed review and yourself. And so just trying to get the product in the hands of the right people that can help create some awareness for the brand. And I guess one thing that's cool for me is I was already using the pads before I ever took this position. And so as a professional detailer, I had already arrived at these pads being the best, or so I thought best. And I know that's relative, but and so it was really cool to get brought on with a company where I was already using their products. I'm already a believer. I think like every other sales job I've ever had in my life, you're selling something that you don't really wholeheartedly or 100% buy into. And so that's been really cool for me is I love these products. I use them every day. I am still detailing and I find them to be the best. And I've definitely done my research. I've bought from every main manufacturer and every main big detailing website, and I've put their pads through the test. And so arriving at these is what I found to be the best for me. And now being hired by that company to sell and represent a product that I believe in is really freaking cool.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And I have like this thumping question in my head that if you don't want to answer or at all, we could totally edit it out. But I feel like it's going to be a question that a lot of people have. Okay. Because the last podcast episode, you're doing extremely well, right? And you still are doing extremely well. It's like nothing, and I could attest to this, nothing happened, right? You didn't break your leg or your arm or that forced you into this position with Americana Global, right? But right. What was kind of the thought pattern or why, you're talking about doing, $3,000 to $5,000 coding jobs in multiple states, multiple locations, why kind of slow that side of things down or maybe you haven't, I don't know, but why take on this position? Was it to go deeper into the industry and kind of learn those back end things of chemical manufacturing and stuff like that, and even if you want to get into your past before detailing, that's fine. And maybe that was part of the journey, is kind of getting back to that where you were on that side of things. But why take on this role when you seemingly have a great detailing business going?
Okay, I'm writing down a few things here.
And if you want to edit this out, it's totally fine. I just had that burning question, and I think a lot of other people will too, of like, You know, I don't know.
Why? So several reasons. First would be networking. So I wanted to be able to move into the upper levels of the people working like at big name websites, big name companies. And so I wanted to have a preset platform that would per se qualify me to be able to start a relationship with those people or those companies. It's just something that I've always wanted to do. You know, in every job I've ever had, I always try to go to the very top, or always try to find my way to what I may consider the top. And so I wanted to meet all the people, the who's who of the industry, and I thought this would be a great platform to be able to do that. Secondly is education. I love training and educating. In every job I've ever had, I've always been involved in training or process development, standard operating procedure. Like you said, my background is in supply chain and logistics, so it's very process oriented, much like detailing. And so I wanted to have another platform where I could continue my love or passion to train and educate people from our industry. And so I've been doing trainings on my own as well as with Americana Global, and that's something that will make a bigger push for this year, is to try to do, I would love to get to do monthly trainings, just paint correction trainings, and to where we can take people in from any skill level, introduce them to our products, and help them answer any questions they may have about paint correction, or if they haven't done it, you know, get them started on their journey of learning and perfecting that craft. So that's my love. I love to train and educate. And so this gives me another platform to reach out to a network of people and share my knowledge, share my experiences, and share like the good experiences or the good things or whatever that I've had with the industry. Another thing, let's see.
Those are great answers, by the way, and I love those. I mean, not to cut you off, and I definitely want to hear your other one, but those are tremendous answers for, you know, it's not always all about making as much money as possible at all times. It's also about kind of, I think, and it sounds like this is what you did too, you know, you're kind of looking at the horizon and seeing like, okay, in my future, how can I level up within the industry and find out more information and get more information, but also have a wider reach, you know? And I think that's super, super smart.
Yeah. And that was just the next thing I was going to say. You know, obviously it creates another revenue stream for me, or a way to make money, and another way that I can even help other guys make money if, you know, they wanted to sell the products. So I'm always about sharing what I know, sharing my knowledge, my experiences, and passing that on to other people. And so those are the main reasons. It's been really fun getting to work in the back end of product development, and that's something I've always wanted to do. So it's just opening so many doors for me on another level within the industry. And I am still doing detailing. I guess I'll throw in real quick, I'm actually going to be moving to Pennsylvania and working out of our corporate office, which I haven't talked to you about yet.
Yeah, I haven't heard that at all. And I think that's just to kind of piggyback on that point. I think you're really on the cusp and cutting edge of kind of the world that we're transitioning to, where, you know, as detailers, the end all be all in the past, and this is something I've never really talked about, but something that I've been noticing in our space, and really not, I think people are having a harder time with it in our space because it's so small, but I feel like it happens in other industries, and maybe you've seen this too, maybe you haven't, you know, but the days of, you know, the older mentality of, you know, even 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago was that you were a detailer, and then if you essentially, quote unquote, graduate, you go work for a company and you start repping their products, and you kind of let your detailing business go away, right? You sell it or you walk away from it, because detailing is a young man's game and it's tough work, so I'm not discrediting people for doing that at all, but it seemed like that was the path, right? That you would hopefully, if you were good enough, get picked up by a company, and then you could travel to all these things. But what I'm seeing now is that it's you're getting picked up by a company like you've done, and I think this is exactly what you've done, is you've gotten picked up from a company, but you haven't had to necessarily walk away from everything that you've built to work for them. You know what I mean? You've
Right.
been able to simultaneously do both, which is actually extremely beneficial for not only you, but for the company as well, because then you still have your ear to the ground in the detailing industry. You're still making moves. You still can test and do all that, but yet bring all that feedback to the company and help them grow. You know what I mean? So this kind of thing where you do work for a company, but you also detail. And I mean, it's 2018, right? We're living in this age of the internet, and something I'm huge on is multiple streams of income, and that helps everyone,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's good for you, because then you have, you're not as reliant upon one income stream, but that's also good for Americana Global, because they probably don't have to pay you, what your full-time 100% dedicated income would be. So it's like it's really this interesting time that I think we're entering in, that a lot of people are struggling with, especially on the company side of things, not so much the detailer side of things, but the brand side of things, is that people are struggling with picking up people and having them solely dedicated for their brand. You know what I mean? Especially when there's so many side hustles and side activities that go on, Do you have any thoughts on that? If not, it's totally fine. I just kind of went off on my own soapbox there.
No, I think you are right. I think it's important to have multiple revenue streams. You want to have multiple ways to make money, and that's with any profession in life. And I think the companies are reaching out to guys, and I think the reason is for the content. And so one benefit of being able to play on both sides of the fence there is you're always able to produce quality content, because you're in the trenches, as Billy would say, doing the work.
Shout out to Billy, by the way.
Yeah, Billy's the man.
He is.
So you have that ability to continuously create content. And so that's kind of one thing that I'm really going to focus on this year. And I've been not as good as I would like to be, but I'm going to be better of just creating content. I think for me, whenever I was learning, I watched guys like Mike Phillips and Larry Costalla and Matt Moreland, Obsessed Garage, and Kevin Brown, Kevin Davis, and I just watched YouTube videos,
Jimbo
and that's
Whalen.
how I got
Just
Jimbo.
saying.
Well,
I'm teasing.
I think it's rhetorical, since I'm sitting here talking to you, that you're a part of my educational network. But I'll say this. I didn't even know who to look to until I started listening to the auto detailing podcast.
All right.
And
Now
then
we're
I
going
found
too
it.
far.
No, but I mean, in all honesty, that's how I educated myself, is through content, through your content,
Sure.
through these other guys who are passionate about the industry, passionate about products, and really giving themselves their time and their energy to creating content to helping guys perfect and become better craftsmen in this industry.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's been really fun doing that. And in Pennsylvania, there's a corporate office there. So on a completely other side of the fence there, I'm also a rep for Ceramic Pro. So being an installer for Ceramic Pro, then I moved on with them to become a national rep. So now I have a team of guys that installs Ceramic Pro underneath me. And so I get to be basically the face of the company to them. And then I also get to help them represent our company to the end of the line consumer. And so that's another revenue stream. That's something else that I'm able to do. And so I'm tapping into this network of people, Ceramic Pro installers, and then on the other side of the thing, people who are doing paint corrections. And so now I can kind of, for what advice I have, I can in the most basic form, I can capitalize. Okay, if somebody's reaching out to me and I want to do training, I can do paint correction training with them. I can do coating training with them. If they want to move forward and become a ceramic pro installer, then I can get them on board with that, and I'm their representative for that. If they need help with paint correction, well, I represent a paint correction company, so I've got products and I'm familiar with that. And so really for me, it's enabled me to be the best resource I can be to the people who are tied into my network that I'm dealing with every day.
I love that. I just think it's so smart, and in a way that's what I've, hearing you talk about the podcast as kind of a resource to kind of direct people in other ways or to other people, right, is exactly what I wanted to for the podcast, because like you said, you become a more valuable asset, right? And that makes you stand out from the crowd and makes you more valuable and all that. And that leads to opportunity and income and all that, like it has for you in a relatively short amount of time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very short amount of time. I mean, I have always loved detailing and always did that, on the side for money or whatever. And then moved out of my corporate job after, getting a college degree and worked to the pinnacle of what I thought would be my corporate job, and then got away from that. And so it's been just about 2 years since I've dove headfirst into the detailing industry. And for me, like I said earlier, I always shoot my eyes at the top. So I installed a lot of coatings. I installed, CarPro, IGL, G-Technique, and Ceramic Pro, and a few others, Glossit, Pearl Nano, I've installed and worked with all those products, and I wanted to find what I thought was the best in my opinion, and I arrived at Ceramic Pro, and so became an installer. And then if I'm going to be talking to these people and giving them advice and pointing them in a direction, why shouldn't I be able to capitalize on the revenue opportunity
100%
associated with? So
if you're the resource, you should be able to capitalize on that.
Yeah.
And that's where I think brands get a hard time. They get greedy.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Happens. Was there a third thing on your list, or did you already cover that one? Did we cover that?
No, it was just networking, education and training, being a part of product development. I want to be as knowledgeable and resourceful and as qualified as I can possibly be. And so the place I'm at now is probably just a result of those personal ambitions or personal goals, those things that I hold important to me. And so, but it's gotten me to a really cool place. And I have shut down my shop space in Amarillo and Dallas, which I mainly worked mobile.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, just in preparation to move to Pennsylvania.
Got it.
I never had a shop that was open all the time, but I did have a sublet shop space in Dallas and in Amarillo, which were my two main cities I worked out of. But I've, moved on, and I won't have those spaces, but I'll still be working mobile. I think for me, another thing that's cool is I've done enough work now to where I really don't compromise in my prices, and I deliver what I consider to be a result. I charge what I charge. And so there's people around the country that find value in that and are willing to pay me what I charge to travel across the country and do their car, And so that's really a fun thing for me, is I still get to detail. And I was saying, this whole tangent, I'll circle back. So I'll be moving to Pennsylvania, which is where the corporate office for Americana is. So I'll be working out of there. And then also there is a new ceramic pro shop there in Lancaster. And so I've worked out a deal with them to where I can work out of their shop, continue to produce content, continue to do installations and grow the ceramic pro side of my business, while I'm also in the same area working out of the corporate office for Americana. So that was just freaking too good to be true, almost there. So
sounds like a huge win. And didn't you say they have a coffee shop in there, in that place?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah. So
for me, it's like if I'm any closer to a coffee shop, that's always a good thing.
Yeah, it's called the Ceramic Pro Auto Spa, and so they have a coffee shop. They have a big parking lot, and they have some really cool ties with car clubs, which in one of my previous podcasts, I kind of told how I got my success. I really created a name for myself, and that was by direct targeting car clubs. And so we can host car club events, car groups, car meets. We can do cars and coffee. We have Lancaster Cars and Coffee up there. It's a world-class facility. I mean, you couldn't ask for a nicer place to go in and be able to do the work that we do. You know, I traditionally have always worked mobile, even though I had my shops. It wasn't my own dedicated space. I never got to set it up, you know, purpose built. And so this facility is 100% purpose built for paint correction, coating, PPF, vinyl, PDR. And so I'll get to be in there with those guys. I'll get to take in the knowledge of the PPF and the vinyl and the PDR guys, try to learn those things for myself, but produce content, create more awareness for the two brands I represent, as well as my own brand. You know, I think you said something a minute ago, but I think it's important for guys to maintain their own self-identity no matter what direction they choose within the industry, kind of like you've done. You know,
100%.
You represent the industry as a whole, and I am a little bit more direct in the fact that I represent two different brands. But when it comes right down to it, you know, I'm Travis McNutt, I'm Texas Showshine, I'm the craftsman, I'm the trainer. Like, this is all my knowledge, and I believe that I work for great companies and I'm proud to support their products. But everything I'm talking about and pushing into the market is my own personal experiences that I've had from living in this industry for 2 years.
100%.
And so I want to maintain my brand, who I am. You know, the content that I create will be for those companies, but I'll also release it on my own networks and outlets. And so it's still a win-win for me no matter what. And, you know, God forbid something happen, like I get fired from both those companies or whatever somehow, but worst case scenario, you know, I still am able to maintain my identity as a craftsman and a detailer in this industry. And I think that's super important.
I think you just nailed it, you know, and I think people have to be vigilant and aware of that. There is that because of social media, everyone is a personal brand, right? So your name, regardless of who else you work for or who else you install for or whatever, you have to make sure that you're protecting your personal name, right? And I think we've seen examples of that in the past where people tie in their name too much with a brand, and then that isn't theirs, and they essentially become that brand, and then they try to leave and do something else, and it's like, wait, aren't you that brand? You know, what are you? And it's because that person forgot their personal brand above anything. You know, but like you said, it's a win-win for brands, because if you're Travis McNutt, the you know, paint slaying monster coating guy, you're going to be drawing people in to Ceramic Pro Auto Spa or whatever, and then creating content for Americana Global, and so it's like it's a total huge win for everyone, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're both leveraging each other, and as long as there's a mutual understanding there of we're leveraging each other to grow further together, that's a huge win for everyone, I think.
Yeah, I think so too, and I'm really excited about where I'm at and who I'm working with and the products that I represent, because like I said, I believe in them, and so, you know, it is a win-win. I get to work in the industry I love, with the products I love, with the people I love, doing what I love, you know, so
it's a big love fest.
It's really a love fest, but yeah, it doesn't really feel like work every day because I'm doing what I enjoy doing. Right. I spent a lot of time, especially recently, doing trainings, coding and paint correction trainings, and that's so much fun to just be able to get in and teach a guy and set him up for success to where he can, you know, further his brand, further his business, and build build, whatever, build his legacy, which is kind of what I feel like I'm trying to do. I'm trying to build my legacy. I want to be able to lead something to the industry like Billy talks about.
Yep.
So, I'll be out of this on some day, and hopefully I can look back and say, my life's work, my passions are educational tools that other people can use to grow and benefit them personally. That's like what I love most about everything I'm doing.
It sounds incredible. It sounds awesome. I'm so stoked that we were able to, because I think part of what you said, one day when you decide to retire or move on or whatever, the reason that it makes me so excited to document the times like now are so that can be part of that resource in the future where you go, yeah, remember when I was at Americana and I became the CEO? Here's a podcast to listen to for that. And then here's all the videos I did for them. And now I'm over here and look at, that transition here and blah, blah, just to I think we're going to look back in 15, 20, 30, 40 years. And it's like, unlike when I was coming up and there was maybe one or two guys to look at, but there wasn't really that much content out there to kind of shift through. We're gonna see a massive amount of content and be able to really follow people through their journeys, and so like I said, I'm grateful for you coming on the show to share that so that I could play a small role in saying, remember that Travis McNuttery guy? I had him on the show one time, actually 3 times.
I think this is the 4th time.
Or the 4th time, and definitely not the last. So if people want to kind of want to follow you, if they want to see the Americana Global offering, if they want to try out pads, if they want to follow you to Pennsylvania and follow your work at the auto spa or whatever, how can people kind of get in touch with you and kind of get into your circle?
Okay, so definitely Texas Show Shine is my Facebook page. Americana Global is a Facebook page, obviously. My email for Americana, info@americana.com, Travis@ceramicpro.com if anybody's interested in possibly joining the Ceramic Pro team or just wants some more information there. All the Americana products are on AmericanaGlobal.com's website as well as Facebook pages, and I've got a lot of videos I'm about to release as far as just information about the products, but if anybody's curious, they can reach out to me directly. Also going to do, so I think this show will air Monday, what is that, the 19th?
Correct.
So Monday the 19th, we're going to run a 1-week promotion off www.americanaglobal.com, coupon code Jimbo.
Ooh.
Anybody can get 20% off the products for the next week just for listening to your show.
Well, check that out. And I love a coupon code Jimbo. I mean, does it get any better than that? It's pretty self-serving,
Absolutely.
But I love it. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate, everything that you've done for me, whether it may seem small to you. You've always played a large role in my educational background, leading me into the right network of people, just introducing me to new products, new companies. So you've definitely been a valuable resource to me throughout the last couple of years. So I appreciate that.
Well, I like I said, the feeling's mutual, and I'm glad we were able to meet at SEMA this past year and make that. We're gonna start making that a yearly occurrence. That was fun. That led to a later night, but that was fun.
Yeah, it was good times for sure.
Cool, man. All right, I'm gonna wrap up this episode again. Like Travis said, if you want to opt into that discount, just use offer code Jimbo. Their pads, liquid, soap, whatever. I've been seeing that soap around, so that's cool. Got some too. Thanks for sending that out to me, Travis. You had to try it out.
How did you like the pads, by the way? You never even.
I love the pads. I do love the pads, and I tried them. Barry had sent me some, I think, a while back, but he didn't have all the ones that you sent me yet. And in fact, I used the microfiber ones on a set of headlights that I did the other day, and they worked perfectly. So
awesome, man. Glad you like it.
We've surprisingly for Southern California, we normally don't have weather, and we're going on like the 3rd or 4th week of like on and off rain. So I've actually been a little bit slower. So I haven't been able to test everything like I normally like to, but they're definitely in my arsenal. And I honestly do really, really, really like them. So, and I'm not
Awesome,
just
man.
blowing wind up your skirt. I really do like them. And you can never have too many pads, right? Like, that's the way I look at it. It's like there's so many different paints, and I know clear coat is clear coat, but it's not, right? So you never know what's going to work. So the way I look at it, it's like pads are so relatively inexpensive that, you know, a $10 or $12 pad in the right situation that'll bail you out is worth 10 times that, you know? So.
Oh, absolutely. And then the confidence to know that you can walk into those situations in the future and you don't have to figure it out.
100%.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, all right, I'm going to wrap up this recording, but yeah, thanks, man.
Yep.
Big ups again to Travis for coming on the show and spending time. And me and him actually ended up spending 45 minutes after we recorded the show, even just chit-chatting and catching up. And he's got some really, really cool things that he is looking at bringing to this company and his personal brand and stuff. So I'm super excited. I'm thankful for you guys for listening along his journey, my journey, everyone's journey. I find everyone's journey so fascinating, and that's why this podcast is always kind of geared towards that. So follow up with Travis on all his social platforms. Follow him. He's a good dude to follow up with. And also take him up on that offer code and enter code Jimbo over at Americana Global and get yourself some stuff to try out and test, and maybe it'll make it on JimboDaily.com. And that's another thing. I want to invite you over to JimboDaily.com, a resource for you, accessories and tools and tricks and all that kind of stuff that I've been referring out anyway, just as an added benefit to you, the listener, listening to this podcast. So I invite you over to check out JimboDaily.com, and I will catch you on the next episode. Thanks for listening.